Mr President, I'm pleased to introduce this first-of-a-kind bill, the Summary Offences Invasive Image and Depictions Amendment Bill 2024. The bill seeks to create new offences for the creation, distribution and threat to distribute artificially generated invasive images, commonly known as deepfakes. For the unaware, a deepfake is an AI-generated image which may draw on photos or videos or the voice of a real person to create a realistic-looking image, video or audio of that person. And there have been well-known instances of deepfakes impacting public figures, including viral images purporting to be Taylor Swift. And I'm in no way making light of this, because what you'll hear is very serious, but I know the Honourable Tammy Franks in particular will probably understand more and appreciate the Taylor Swift references woven into my contribution today, and inevitably the reason for those. While some may dismiss this as a cruel summer for celebrities, the reality is far from it. The creation, distribution and threat to distribute sexualised deepfakes present serious problems for young people and young girls in particular. The psychological impacts of cyberbullying and harassment have led to young people, Mr President, ending their lives in Australia and indeed all over the world. Of course, this is not an issue which impacts only the young. Women are also disproportionately on the receiving end. So the bill introduces new offences and seeks to increase penalties for existing filming and sexting offences to match the new deepfake penalties. The recent surge, Mr President, in the creation and distribution of sexualised deepfake content is the result of significant advances in artificial intelligence capabilities. The world is rapidly changing. AI has made humiliation possible at the click of a button. In the space of just a year, we are talking about territory that was only within the realm of hackers and underground use, and is now available literally at the click of a button for anybody who is willing to give it a crack. The rapidly evolving nature of deepfake technology has made it difficult for law enforcement and laws to keep up. AI has highlighted all too well just how much we need tailor-made laws. I know our Red Premier loves South Australia to be the first at many things. And this is indeed an opportunity to be truly nation-leading with our response to a contemporary problem that has significant social impacts. The bill seeks to close the blank space in our laws concerning the creation, distribution and threat to distribute images that have been wholly generated by artificial intelligence. Currently, Mr President, the Summary Offences Act 1953 addresses instances where a person's actual image has been altered and used in the creation, distribution or threat to distribute sexually explicit pictures. So that is where a real person's image has been used. That is captured. This is distinct, though, from a deepfake of a person that is generated wholly by artificial intelligence, but is generated in such a way as to resemble that person so closely that it can be mistaken for the actual person in question. The bill proposes to double penalties for existing filming and sexting offences to match the new deepfake offence penalties. And it would be a defence to a charge under the bill, so we're clear, only where the person has consented to the creation or distribution of the images, only where the person has consented. The consent provisions will not apply to charges involving a minor or to vulnerable persons, or where consent was obtained under duress or deception. Proposed penalties are higher across the board for offences where the depicted person purports to be a real person under the age of 17 as well. Sexually explicit or compromising videos can and are spread quickly online. And though I appreciate she is one of the world's most famous people right now, one of Taylor Swift's deepfakes, just to give you an indication of why I've used her references throughout this, was reported to have been seen over 47 million times before it was removed by X. In an instant, they can tarnish a person's reputation, causing shame and humiliation, and of course have long-term psychological impacts. They can seriously impact on a person's individual person's and professional reputation, causing anxiety, depression, and all the things that come with the violation of privacy and public exposure or fear of it. Deepfakes are very damaging, and our laws have to keep pace, Mr. President. We've seen this time and time again. We can't just say, you're on your own, kid. We've seen how affecting existing sexting laws have been, particularly amongst minors. And this parliament now has the opportunity to extend that effectiveness to combat sexualised deepfakes. I will flag that we have been working on a separate proposal for aggravated offences involving sexualised images, AI sexualised images used for blackmail purposes. Deepfakes can be exploited by predators to manipulate or coerce young people, and in fact we have examples of that here in Australia. So rather than begin again, on the advice of Parliamentary Council and based on what we've discussed, I am proposing and foreshadowing that I will be moving an amendment to this bill to capture it because it is the right place for it. And I look forward to the swift progress of this bill through this place. We have seen, like I said, how effective our existing sexting laws have been. Particularly amongst minors. We've seen that they form part of the education curriculum program for very good reason, and that they have done what they were intended to do, and that is deter minors in particular from engaging in that sort of behaviour. But make no mistake, AI is being used to create deep fake revenge porn and deeply disturbing sexually explicit images of minors. And schools are becoming breeding grounds for its distribution. The degree to which this is happening right now ought to be enough to put the fear of life in parents across Australia. Overwhelmingly, like I said, it is women, but it is also young girls who are the targets here. And chances are it's happening a lot more than we know because what we've heard from experts is that, and particularly in schools, kids are reluctant to actually talk about it. They're hiding the shame, they're not knowing what to do, they're responding, but they're not knowing what to do with it. According to ABC, police have said in the case of Bacchus Marsh Grammar School in Melbourne, about 50 students' faces were purportedly taken from social media sites before being manipulated and used by AI to create obscene photographs. If you think it's hard to do, think again. I went to have a look myself, a quick Google search. You can, in fact, I could go on there now and find a photo of anyone in this chamber and say, convert this to an obscene, sexually explicit or nude photo, and the results will be scary. Kids are not turning to adults for help because they don't think the adults know how to deal with them, because they are scared, because they are embarrassed, because they don't want their parents finding out that this is happening at school. They are going it alone. And Mr. President, we've been here before. We've been in this very scenario before, and we all probably have been around long enough now to know the importance of Carly's Law and why we passed those, of sexting laws and why we passed those, of banning childlike sex dolls and why we passed those, because these are exploitation measures that in many cases, sadly, are targeted towards kids. Mr. President, there are some harrowing accounts of what this sort of thing can do to young people, and there is a harrowing account of what the release of nude pictures without consent, and indeed in instances where consent can't be obtained, have had on young people. And the ABC has reported on a young man, Mac Holdsworth, who was 16 when he was extorted via social media after exchanging photos of his body with somebody who he believed was a teenage girl. It turned out they weren't a teenage girl, and they were being blackmailed into providing money, or those photos would be sent to all their contacts. It turns out that in that instance, the photo was sent to all of Mac's contacts, and sadly, even though Mac finally told his dad and the matter was reported to the police and the police were able to find and charge the perpetrator, Mac didn't cope with it. He obviously suffered a lot in silence, despite having a very supportive and helpful, family who were trying to help him get through it. But tragically, he died by suicide. Now, the point is, this is all because of the explosion of what's happening on social media. Mac didn't send his photo thinking that this was going to turn out to go to a scammer who was then going to sextort him and send this to all his contacts online. This is something innocent that a kid of his age, any kid of his age, could have done, and tragically it has resulted in the worst possible outcome. And using AI sexualised deepfakes to do exactly the same, whether it resembles the person so closely that you think it's them, or whether it is actually using a photo of them, makes no difference, and we shouldn't draw that distinction in law.